This is Jonathan Horseman with Urban Heat.
I wish I could write you a simple love song, but the world keeps falling apart.
And you're listening to the New Wave Music Podcast.
Welcome back to the New Wave Music Podcast. Today's episode is part of our new Artist Spotlight, where we feature bands that are making waves in the modern music scene. This one actually came to us as a listener suggestion, so a big shout out to Tony for introducing me to this phenomenal band. My guests today are brothers Myles and Kyles Mendes of NITE. This band was such a joy to discover. They really remind me of a darker waves version of Tears for Fears, and I think their music will connect really well with our listeners. In this episode, we're also going to dive into some tracks from their catalog that I feel will really resonate and give our audience a deeper introduction tonight. We'll talk about their origins, their creative journey, and their latest work, including a collaboration with Leah Lane of Rosegarden Funeral Party. So let's get started. Well, Kyle and Myles, thanks again for joining us here on the New Wave Music Podcast, taking time out of your day to share some stories behind the band and have our listeners get to know your band. My first question is, can you share the story of how NITE first came together?
Yes. Myles, you can go ahead if you want to.
Well, I guess if people aren't familiar with us, Kyle and I, we are twin brothers. So we grew up, together. We've fell in love with music together. So we've always wanted to start a band. I think that we were fascinated with our parents' music. Our parents loved music of the 80s, but also 70s and classic rock as well. I think originally we fell in love with bands like Kiss and Queen, but as well as bands like Eurythmics and Billy Idol, The Cars. Our first concert ever was Kiss. So I think that might have been kind of like a cornerstone, or at least something that we like founded and wasn't super inspired by that. So I think that was probably the, NITE's inception, moving forward, just because we've just always had a fascination with music. We've always had a fascination with being a band. But NITE didn't start until, I guess, 2012, 2013. And Kyle and I were in a band called Radio Fire in high school, and it was essentially the same thing. It was synth music, rock music. We were inspired by bands like The Faint and The Killers, and nothing really changed. We just changed the band name to NITE eventually.
I guess in short, because we're brothers, we've just been playing music with each other our whole lives.
Were there any defining moments or shared influences that really set the foundation to your sound?
I would say that discovering bands like The Faint and The Killers and Shining Toy Guns. I don't know if you're familiar with any of those bands. There was that early punk revival in the early 2000s that actually kind of kickstarted our love for new wave. So we discovered these bands before we deep dive into Depeche Mode and The Cure. They're the ones that kind of opened that up for us. So I would say that was kind of a defining moment, is to kind of learn the influences of our favorite bands.
How did you land on the name NITE? Was it immediate, or did you go through a few other names before it stuck?
We went through a few other names.
So our first album we recorded in an animation studio, actually. We had a friend who worked there. It mainly has to do with anime. And he was kind of that part of the music portion of that. And so he had a lot of great gear. And we would go into the studio after the studio closed. So I don't know if it was really allowed to do that. I don't know if that was okay or not. But basically, we wanted to use the word NITE, or at least because we thought aesthetically it fit with the music that we were working on. But we came down to the band name Nighttime Eyes, which is also an inside joke that we had with each other, because we'd be recording through 3 a.m. and we'd have these terrible baggy eyes from looking at a computer screen all day. But every time we told a friend that we're working on this band called Nighttime Eyes, we had to repeat it multiple times. So we just shortened it to NITE. And we're also huge Batman fans. So if you're familiar with the 90s animated series, Batman says, "I am the NITE." So we just thought that was kind of cool, which is why our URL for our social media is We Are the NITE.
So before we get going further into the interview, Myles and Kyle, who else? Is there anybody else in the band, or what roles do you guys each do in the band?
Yes, so it is primarily Myles and I, and we most of the time tour as a duo. With just Myles and I on vocals. I play bass. Myles plays guitar. We both play synths. And sometimes we take a drummer with us. Primarily, we take out our friend Phil Helms, who is actually drumming on pretty much all of our records at this point. We're about to hit the road again on Wednesday. We'll be taking a new gun with us named Brandon. But primarily, it's really just been Myles and I.
So how I got exposure to the band was actually a listener of ours. So I started really getting into it. I actually discovered probably kind of went back into your catalog. The first album I discovered was Sleepless.
Oh, okay, nice.
To me, when I heard that, it really kind of sounded like this is kind of like maybe a little bit more synth or darker wave version of Tears for Fears. Really pulled me in, really liked that. And that's how I started really kind of taking a deep dive into your catalog.
I love that. That's awesome. I also love that comparison. We actually, hear that quite a bit, that we're a darker Tears for Fears.
I'm glad that you heard us from Sleepless. So I feel like you've basically heard a big chunk of our music at this point if you started there.
I'd love to highlight some of the tracks across your career that I think would really connect well with our listeners and give them a deeper introduction to NITE. First song I have is On the Edge of Darkness.
Independently, you made your way. You buried yourself in a grave. Take it out on me. You cry my heart. You cry my soul. I wish the world would let you go. I wish you were not on your own.
What inspired that track and how did it come together in the studio?
So yeah, that's off our first album. So we were recording in an animation studio, and I was really inspired by Grizzly Bear and Beach House. And at that point in time, we were also very inspired by like the early The Cure records, like 17 Seconds and Faith. Also Joy Division, Unknown Pleasures. So that whole album is very cavernous in its sound quality. And I wanted something that sounded like a choir, like how to think of like a choir melody. So we stacked and layered vocals together to make that, the intertwining harmonies and then solo vocal. So that's kind of where it came from. The song specifically that inspired me was a song called 2 Weeks from Grizzly Bear, and then Master of None from Beach House, especially with that pulsing synth sound. That song is, I think that was the first song we released as the band NITE, and the music video is simply just a music video our dad made of us as toddlers dressed up as Batman and the Riddler, and we just replaced the music that was originally on the video, which was like a 90s dance track, with our own, and it somehow worked out.
Yeah, not even edited to the music, but it kind of looks like that. But you mentioned that song though. We still play that song quite a bit live. I'm kind of glad that you mentioned that one. That's a kind of like our favorite from the first album.
The next song I really want to ask you guys about is Are You Afraid? This one has a haunting quality. What's the story behind this one?
Funny enough, the Are You Afraid was probably the last song we wrote for the album I Am Not Afraid. And the last track on I'm Not Afraid is called I Am Not Afraid. So I felt like it'd be cool to start off the album with a question, Are you afraid? And end the album with an answer, I am not afraid. But yes, just like kind of what Myles was saying, during that era of NITE, we were inspired by a lot of the early Cure and Unknown Pleasures by Joy Division, and we were also heavily listening to a lot of dream pop albums of that time, like Beach House, and kind of into lo-fi textures and stuff like that.
Can you tell me about the track Godless City?
These buildings like the street that shines on emptiness. They say that you're insane and treat you like a thief. They
This one, the imagery is so vivid. Was it inspired by a real place, or is it something more metaphorical?
Definitely metaphorical. Every time we play this song, we always tell people it's not about the city that we're currently in. But yeah, it's definitely metaphorical, just kind of, being in a place where people may not know you and you feel uncomfortable. I feel like a lot of people feel like they could be an outcast in places that they are what we would assume to be familiar with. Sometimes it could even be our own home or places of work where you might feel like an outcast. So the song's kind of inspired by that, basically.
The next song is I Long for You. This track feels deeply emotional. What sparked its creation?
That was actually also, you also picked another song that was the last song we wrote for our album Reborn. And at that point in time, we signed to Cleopatra Records, and we needed one more song to fulfill the agreement. I think we owed them 10 songs total, and we only had 9. So that one came pretty much out of nowhere. But sounds that influenced that song specifically, it's a Canadian band. Kyle, could you remind me?
Is it Junior Boys?
Yeah, Junior Boys. I knew you would remember that. Yeah, so it was a band called Junior Boys, and obviously some very, more new wave elements. That song has a shuffle beat, and it's probably maybe the only love song on that album. And it was written, obviously during a lonelier time of my life. So I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like it was perfect for the album, and we were very lucky to have, written that song just in time, and ended up being, again, one of a staple songs that we've been performing for so long now, and we still love that song today.
Well, if we can talk about the track All You've Ever Dreamed Of.
Breathe right through me and spread this disease, because I think you're kind of lovely and I'm not. I can make your wish come true. Oh. Dance with the devil tonight. I want you to dance with the devil tonight. Don't justify with reason, just give yourself away. For all you've ever dreamed of. Don't justify by your needs, just give yourself to me.
When you look back at this song, what does it represent in the arc of your career?
That song was probably, I think that was the first single we released off our second Cleopatra Records song. So this is on the album Sleepless. And that song, I guess what it represents to us, we felt like Sleepless was like Reborn 2.0. At that point in time, we've already opened for a lot of bands of the 80s, a lot of bands that you've actually interviewed, bands like Howard Jones, A Flock of Seagulls. We've opened up for a band called Berlin, Modern English. Like we opened for a ton of different 80s bands. And I think we each wanted to keep that dance-focused 80s energetic sound. And All You've Ever Dreamed Of was now pulling inspirations from like television shows, specifically Twin Peaks from David Lynch. So I was taking a saxophone player and putting their playing in reverse. And the song is a Lynchian tale, the one of selling your soul to the devil in exchange for great talent or great fame. And the perception of that song is from the eyes of the devil instead of being, I'm sorry, not Lynchian tale, Faustian tale. But basically just, the eyes of the devil trying to deceive the listener into selling their soul for fame and riches and stuff like that.
The song Hurt No More.
Love is getting hard to find. Ooh, I'll break inside. We nothing about her laugh. You and me, we share a bit of misery. Do you agree that
Did this one come from personal experience, or is it more of a narrative piece?
Kind of both, really. Hurt No More, it's about getting into a new relationship, but coming from a place of hurt and then coming together, basically just healing, right? Because people from both parties of a relationship can come from hurt places and coming together and basically making peace within yourself. The bridge is talking about, let's remove the world from darkness. And I definitely think that we could be focusing on some very positive things, especially in a dark world. And musically speaking, that song was inspired by NXS and Daft Punk. So that's where that the sounds came from.
The song Oblivion My Obsession.
Designed this way, but we hope it lasts. She cuts me up like a knife, but it feels like fun. She scares me in my dreams, I just can't run.
This track has an intensity to it. How did this evolve from the idea to a finished song?
Yeah, this is actually one of our most recent songs. And what's really cool about this one in particular is I actually wrote it to be a duet. And I thought it would be cool to have another Dallas band sing on it. They're called Rosegarden Funeral Party. We crossed paths, we played a ton of shows with them, but for whatever reason, it just never worked out. Leah actually really wanted to be on the song, but it just never worked out. And we were just like, oh man, we just got to release the song. We're super proud of it. It has a very Sisters of Mercy type vibe to it. And we released it, and then we re-linked with Rosegarden because, funny enough, we actually hired Rosegarden's drummer to drum with us. And Leah, who's the singer of that group, went along for the ride, and she was our tour bus driver for that, run of shows. And we became really good friends. And we're like, hey, just letting you know that song that you like so much, because she kept telling us that was her favorite song of the set, that, hey, we actually wrote that for you in mind to sing with us.
Yeah, she had completely forgotten that we try to connect for a collab. So we had to call her out on it. Like, hey, a couple years ago, we tried to have you on this song.
Yeah.
And then it kind of came full circle. And we re-released the song with her vocal on it.
He cuts me up like a knife, but it feels like fun. He scares me in my dreams, I just can't run. Oh, oblivion. Oh, my obsession.
We have two versions up, one without her vocal, just completely us, and then one with her vocal on it.
So let's talk about the song All Your Pain.
When you're all alone, tell me, do you break? Talk to me, don't let the time go. Talk to me, where did our minds go? I can feel all your pain. I can feel all your pain.
What message or pain were you hoping listeners would take away from this one?
This song in particular, and like a lot of our latest material, is I feel like we're writing messages to the people who are listening and taking the time, or people who are right in front of us as we're performing. I thought that would be just the chorus in general. I thought it would be really cool to allow people in a moment listening to live music and with their pains and darkness of their own personal lives and experiences, for us to say, I feel all your pain, and just let that be released. I just thought that was a cool idea. And the song kind of started from there. Thematically, with the verses and everything, it's about living with someone that you love and helping them through a tragic time period in their lives. And my wife was working at a restaurant. She was a chef there, and one of her friends had died in a car accident who also worked with her at that time period. So those lyrics already felt like were pulled from that time period. And actually, my wife is the spoken word part on the bridge. That's her voice.
The song Have Mercy. What can you share about the origins of this track and how you shaped its sound?
Yes. So Have Mercy is probably one of our favorite songs to perform live. It's been a lot of fun. I kind of pulled a few lyrics from a psalm and was really inspired. Just kind of like what Myles was saying, we're kind of inspired by this idea of singing to our audience, whether they're listening to us on a recording, like as just a big fan, or just watching us open up for an act, and just kind of giving people grace and mercy to each other. People say this a lot. We're kind of in a time where we don't really give enough mercy or grace to people at all. And I feel like it's just an important message to kind of understand where people are at in life, or that we don't know where people are at in life, and just getting to know people at a deeper level before making a final judgment call.
The song Price for Heaven. What was the creative vision or inspiration behind this one?
Like in between our album Sleepless and in between our album that we're about to release, which will be a self-titled album, we released an album called Be Destroyed. It's a bit more of an offshoot from our typical sound. It has more of an industrial rock edge to it. It's a bit more heavier. I actually wrote this song for that album in mind, and it's kind of about searching for happiness, but like kind of in the wrong places. Basically just you look at somebody with success and you wonder, well, how did they get there? What's the price they paid, for that little bit of heaven, and everyone's searching for happiness. And basically that's kind of the wrong way of looking at it, because all of that kind of stuff, all that materialism will amount to nothing. So I put the song together and I actually synthesized it more, which was my original intention anyways. And but I was inspired by a lot of things. Actually, ironically, by accident, there's a string section in the middle of the song. A friend of ours named Ryan Pauly, who's a videographer, said that string melody reminded him of the X-Men theme song from the animated series. And I went back and listened to it. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's right. It's that minor scale walking up. And the reason why I wrote that part, because we love the Eurythmics, and I wanted a little string melody in there. So it was not intentional, but I mean, that minor walk up is unmistakably, like, you hear it in many songs, but like the X-Men theme song is a song that I know very well. So maybe subconsciously, it was there.
Even Eurythmics, Here Comes the Rain Again has that like a kind of like a string section where they do that minor walk up. So it's very commonly used, but just kind of crazy how close it was to the X-Men theme song in the 90s.
So let's talk about the newest single, Cries for Help.
Keep on breaking, piece by piece, with no release. Are you in too deep? You got what you wanted, you got what you needed. I heard your cries for help.
This song feels especially powerful. What's the story behind it, and why did you feel like it was the right one to release now?
We actually struggled a lot on because we already have like a full album made, and we're kind of discussing back and forth what would be the next single. We chose Cries for Help, and hopefully we're not being too repetitive here, but we felt like that this track compared to the other rest of the tracks just speaks to that audience again and how we could sing to our audience. Lyrically, Cries for Help is about someone who keeps kind of self-sabotaging themselves into emotional bondage. You got what you wanted, you got what you needed. I heard your cries for help. But even with that emotional help, it seems like they can never really get out of a hole that they're in. And musically, we kind of wanted to kind of focus more on our synth pop roots. I feel like with every album we release, we always try to have a few intentional synth pop or dancier tracks. We kind of like the limitation of sticking to synthesizers for certain tracks. We made a video kind of showcasing our love for craft work and how we kind of got deep into the weeds of modulation on this song with synthesizers. But it also has a dark, gritty vibe, like the band Trust, who spells his project TR/ST. So it kind of has like a dark lo-fi vibe, but still keeping it dance. But that's kind of the story of Cries for Help, where we're planning on shooting a music video for it soon. And we started playing it live as well. So our next few dates we'll be playing the song live.
Kyle and Myles, I've got the same question for each of you. Is there a track in your catalog that you might feel is maybe overlooked, but you think deserves more attention from listeners?
Good question. I do feel like with a lot of our older songs, I feel that we've had the very fortunate going viral several times on Facebook and Instagram, and also of recent being able to open and tour with bigger bands. So I feel like our new music has gotten a really good spotlight, which we're very proud of our new music. If to tell a listener to where to listen to us first, please listen to our new music. Listen to All Your Pain or a cover of Burn from The Cure. But as far as the older tracks go, you've actually mentioned, I feel like I Long for You is still one of my favorite songs that I think I took the charge on songwriting. But Kyle, what about you?
It's interesting. I feel like our album Sleepless has a lot of good songwriting in there in terms of the craft of songwriting. I feel like I feel like our mission is a little bit different now with our project, but Sleepless was really focused on songwriting, and I feel like we kind of hit a lot of songs. I really like our song "I Don't Know Who I Am."
Why do I always plan on falling? I don't know who I am. This game we play, so mysterious. Even when I lose myself, somehow I know I have not lost
which Twin Tribes has remixed it, and that has gotten a lot of plays. But I feel like I Don't Know Who I Am. I feel like we kind of achieved a sophistopop. I don't know if you've ever heard the term sophistopop before, sophisticated pop music in the 80s, being inspired by artists like the Blue Nile and oh my gosh, there's one more artist that literally just slipped my name, probably because I'm on
Maybe Roxy Music.
Roxy Music, absolutely Roxy Music. But there was one more, Bonnie. They have a song called Bonnie and a song called
Prefab Sprout.
Prefab Sprout. Stuff like that. I feel like I would probably say I Don't Know Who I Am and maybe just other select songs in the album Sleepless. It also got released in 2020, so we lost a lot of opportunity. We really. Basically when it came out, there wasn't really much we could do, so I kind of felt like Sleepless got slept on. So I would say probably that as an album, but specifically the song I Don't Know Who I Am.
Well, you just kind of mentioned it, but I came across your incredible cover that you did of The Cure's Burn.
Don't talk of worlds that never were. The end is all that's ever true.
What drew you to that song, and why did you feel like that was the right track for NITE?
Yes.
Actually, I kind of pushed Kyle to do it because I felt like Kyle's vocals it's a good register for Robert Smith's register. Even though we don't sound like it, Kyle's vocals often gets compared to the Pet Shop Boys. And maybe sometimes Billy Corgan. I guess he's somewhere in between those two singers. The previous album we covered Alice in Chains' Wood, which we industrialized that song, made it totally different. And I took charge on that one, but I thought, Kyle, you're going to need to cover a song. And I kind of pushed it on Kyle. And Kyle, if you want to kind of take that away from there.
Yes, we're kind of known for a lot of harmonizing. We're also big advocates for strong choruses. And so with keeping that in mind, I felt like Burn from The Cure has a really strong chorus, considering his catalog, and has a lot of harmonizing in it, just like the Alice in Chains song. And we're also fans of reimagining cover songs, not necessarily just re-recording it or just our performance of it. So we could kind of we could hear like a kind of synthy dance track around the original, based on the way how it sounded like. So those are very strong reasons why we chose that song out of many other songs we could have covered.
Well, I think you guys are reading my notes here because my next question was about your cover of Alice in Chains' Wood. I love how you transform this grunge anthem into more of a dark, gothic, darker wave vibe. What was your vision for reimagining this track?
Thanks for asking about it too. Because I feel like not everyone, of course, took onto the cover. I feel like it's definitely kind of dangerous territory. I know a lot of Alice in Chains fans probably don't like synthesizers. I think in the 90s, which we were just kids in that time, but around that time period, I'm sure synths were the devil and rock guitar was the only thing authentic. But I chose this song because it was 2020 when I was working on it and everything was frozen in time. But I had a chance to listen to albums outside of my wheelhouse that I'm used to listening to. And our drummer, Phil, is a big fan of Alice in Chains, so I gave them a chance. And when I came across the song Wood, it was familiar to me. I've heard it before. But I was imagining it like, man, I could hear Joy Division. I mean, how cool would it have been to hear Joy Division sing that song? So I thought like, oh, we should just do our own version. And instead of a bass guitar, I wanted a bass synth arpeggiating it and make it sound really industrial. And actually, the singer now from Alice in Chains had commented on our cover and actually enjoys it. So it was actually really cool to get him to listen to it. His name is William Duvall, and he was super positive about it.
So touring can be both exhausting and exhilarating. What keeps you motivated night after night?
I think the people in general, I think getting to meet different types of people is quite incredible. And we meet really interesting people, for the people you're in attendance or people we're performing with. We just went on tour with a DJ named Mystery Skulls. And that was a very awesome experience. And we were getting to play in front of a lot of people every single night. And we're playing at really nice venues. So I feel like Mystery Skulls has a wonderful team that works with them. And I feel like just being able to observe that, being on that tour, I feel like it was just, I mean, we had all the energy in the world. And there's so many different driving forces. Also, just being able to perform the art that my brother and I create in front of people, it's a gift. And the fact that people even receive it, give us the time of day just to watch us or follow us on social media, listen to the music. That is a huge driving force for us.
Yeah, I think Myles really nailed it on the head. I would say music and life are both gifts, and I think it's a huge blessing to be able to live and listen and perform music. And I feel like it's kind of like a mutual thing. Even if I even go to a show,
Right.
everything about it
which we just drove. So our last show with Mystery Skulls was just 2 days ago, and we drove from Columbus, Ohio, straight through the night to get back to Fort Worth, 15-hour drive to go see Nine Inch Nails, which was the best show we've ever seen in our lives with his recent tour. So if you're a Nine Inch Nails fan and you're thinking about buying tickets, this is an amazing show to go see.
When performing live, does that influence or reshape maybe the way you approach some of the songs that you recorded early on in your career?
I'm going to say yes, because just like I mentioned before, we've played with a lot of 80s bands. We've also played with a lot of new bands. One of the bands we had opened for is called Clean Bandit, and they're a radio pop electronic dance band. And at that moment in time, they had just won a Grammy, and their music is high energy dance music. And at the time, we had a very cavernous goth album, and we did very well for the show, but it made us start thinking about dance music, and it kind of affected our writing and therefore affected our performances. And sometimes when we play a song, we realize, oh, this part could be extended or shortened, and we do different things live than we do on the recordings. So it's kind of, all encompassing.
You mentioned the song Godless City, and the album that was a part, Reborn, followed I'm Not Afraid. And if you listen to Reborn and I'm Not Afraid back to back, you kind of realize that we kind of clinged a little bit more to our dancier tunes, kind of moving forward. And a lot of it had to do with being an artist and being a musician, especially when you play live a lot, or even I think a DJ would probably resonate with this a little bit more. But when you're performing music for people, you're kind of like a servant to the audience, and then it's like a service to be entertaining. And songs like Godless City, we wrote for crowds to participate with us, not just in dance, but even with there's a chant in that song. We're doing this O thing, and you just kind of moving forward with Reborn and on. We're always trying to get that audience participation.
So I've got to ask, what's going on in Texas? Because you guys are the second newer kind of synth dark wave band to come out. The first one I got familiar with a few years ago was Urban Heat, and now you guys.
Yeah, and we Urban Heat's a great band. We've actually we watched them grow as a band, and we've performed even before that even happened. And there is something going on here, because I could list 5 or 6 bands that are really taking charge and making a name for themselves. One of them being Twin Tribes, and
I forgot about Twin Tribes as well.
And of course, Rosegarden Funeral Party, who are our good friends, and they just did they did 2 Euro tours this year, and they're out there, working hard and doing amazingly well. The others, I can't tell you. Maybe there's something in the air here other than our allergies that is crazy here in Texas. Maybe that's it. Maybe just it's crazy allergies and it makes us creative. I don't know. But I feel fortunate that we actually have like-minded artists around us to be in league with. I mean, it's all of these bands are incredible.
I know you're in the middle of touring right now. How long does this tour go for?
This next run is 5 shows. We're playing Tulsa, Kansas, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, and Chicago. And then later on, we go on the West Coast in Texas with Dead on a Sunday later on in October.
And after that tour's over, you guys kind of teased it earlier, so now I'm going to ask you about this because I had no idea until this interview. You have a new album that sounds like almost in the work, completed or in the works. Any tease you can tell us of when the new album might be out, what we can look forward to?
Yeah, we're currently having vinyls pressed. We have about 4 more songs that are unreleased. We want to encapsulate this time capsule of music we had just released into one album, which was the plan the whole time. But I feel like just modern era encourages, just the cookie crumb, one song at a time. So we're at a point now where we're ready to release it as a completed work of art. And we're hoping to have these records finished by October for our West Coast tour. And with a Spotify, Apple streaming music release, probably in November, December. And probably going to hold it so we can have the physical first and make that a very special experience for people who come to the live shows.
Very cool. Really looking forward to that. Like I said, became a huge fan of the band, just the limited exposure I've had. So hearing it, you guys have a new album out by the end of the year brings me a lot of joy. Really looking forward to that. How can our audience keep up with the band and maybe find out about these releases or your other tour dates? Is it through your website, wearethenite.com?
Yes, that'd be a great place to check, especially for tour dates. But yeah, I would. We're also on social media with the same stuff. We Are the NITE for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah.
And NITE is spelled NITE.
Yes. Yeah. So we are the NITE, and then NITE spelled NITE.
Well, Myles, Kyle, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast today. It's been great digging into your catalog, talking about your live shows, and a glimpse of what's ahead for NITE. For our listeners, make sure to check out their latest single, Cries for Help, catch them on tour, and if they're coming through a city near you in the West Coast, really check them out. Thanks again. I can't wait to hear what's next for the band.
Thank you, Steve. We're super excited. We also have a tour next year in Germany and Denmark and some surrounding countries, but mainly Germany. So we're very excited about that. I also wanted to mention too, Steve, that we are very honored that you took the time to research us and listen to us. And honestly, it's actually very rewarding to hear that you like our band. So thank you.
Or even just going back in time with us, because we've been a band clearly over 10 years, and our more recent stuff that has come out has taken off way further than we ever have before. So it's kind of nice to know that our previous releases haven't been forgotten, and that's a big thing for us. So we really appreciate going back in time.
Oh, absolutely. The pleasure's been all mine speaking to you guys and discovering the band.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much.
A big thank you to Myles and Kyle's Mendes of NITE for joining us here on the podcast. Be sure to check out their latest single and catch them on tour if they're coming through to your city. And don't forget to explore their catalog if you haven't already. You'll find some incredible tracks that really showcase their unique sound. Looking ahead to our next episode, we're actually going to be getting back into reviews. I'll be joined by a special guest. We're going to be taking a look into the latest album from David Byrne, as well as the newest album from the Blow Monkey. If this is your first time listening, we thank you and ask that you please subscribe. That's a great way to support us. And if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to leave us a 5-star review. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search for New Wave Music Podcast. We'll catch you on the next episode.